Good evening and welcome back. So, it's a bit dark in here. Let's load up the levels here again. We'll probably compile a few shaders at a moment, but I don't want to do much in here today. I think I will jump into Blender in a moment. But first I want to have a look at something here. Okay, 8,000, 6,000. Okay, the entrance is here. The thing is, I also need to cut out this entrance piece here. So I kind of want to build that out of modular pieces. First I wanted to get the shape in and then add a few things to it. So let's start up Blender and have a look. And let's also put on some music. No, let's do a new playlist. Okay. It's trolls now. Now let's have a look. Maybe it is this one. No, it's not. Okay. So... Did I not save that thing? Damn it. Sorry about this, I'm looking for a specific file and I can't seem to find it. And the music is too loud. Okay. Okay, so let's import the one that we have. There's an FBX somewhere. Okay. So let's create a cylinder. Content. I think 16 sides might be enough. Radius of 1, I think that's fine. Depths we can change later. Looks like there's some kind of rotation on it. It's either the cylinder has a rotation or this thing has some kind of rotation. That's strange. It says it doesn't have a rotation. Okay, so it's just a perspective. It was a bit strange. Okay. Why the hell? Vertex. Okay. So right, front look okay. Top also looks okay. Okay, so it's just strange looking. That's all. Okay. Let's switch over to this. And let's add a modifier. And this to 0, and this to 20. Yeah. So if I put this to 10 and have 3 copies, then it looks like that. So let's put this to maybe 2.5 and add a few more copies. It looks wrong for some reason. Okay. Let's remove this and add a copy of this as well. Good.
For the glory of all. Are you looking at me? Stand away, citizen.
That's strange. Okay. Let's not have that. let's jump back here and see. So we don't really need this going all the way around. Only for the ones on top, but not for the second layer. So let's add a mirror. And we don't need them back at the moment. So let's remove that. When it's done, I have no idea, to be honest. This is an exploration adventure game. Let's pause that and let me show you the game. So it's kind of a mixture between an old school point and click adventure game and an open world exploration game. First person perspective, you walk around, you have quest, or you can pick up more quests along the way. That's the main quest. You can move around items if you want to. In this case, to solve puzzles, like opening these gates in town. You can also talk to people. This guy here. And in this case, ask about why the gates are closed and find a bit more about the world. Kind of old school point and clicky dialogue system. And you can also pick up items. There might be. Oh, I removed those. Let's see. We should have some items in here. In the library. Yeah, there's some books here. And in this case, it's also a dialogue-based shop system where I can just pick an item, and if it's owned by someone and for sale, then I can buy it. But I would like to buy that. And now I have this book about trolls here, and I can read it and get a bit of information about it. Yes, I got on different versions. I still need to make a new version of the game so that I get feedback, but the last few build attempts all failed, and I wanted to fix a few things, but I haven't fixed those completely yet. So I will try to do another build next weekend. That's a long time ago, yeah. That's yeah, 3 years ago, roughly. Yeah, I started the project in Unity as kind of a level design project in the beginning, and then it kind of grew to be something more. At the time, Unity didn't have the features in it that I wanted to have, and I kind of looked around and saw that I could have the same features that I wanted for free in Unreal, or I would need to pay a lot to get them in Unity. And that's why I switched over to Unreal, because I already had finished the kind of prototype phase of the game, and then tested that out. It felt okay to me. It felt okay to 1 or 2 people I showed it to. And then I switched over to Unreal. And kind of not completely started from scratch, but started to create the mechanics again in Unreal. And moved most of the graphics stuff over that I had before, but I needed to yeah, the plan is to at some point sell the game, yes. But I need to get it to a state where I'm comfortable with giving it out. Just try it, make a small project, and you don't really need to do a lot of coding in C++ if C++ is something that you think might be a problem. This project is completely Blueprint at the moment. There's no C++ code in this. And it works for most cases, so even the AI sometimes works. For instance, she should be sitting down on the chair there. The only problem is she's not looking in the right direction, but at least she's interacting with the chair somehow. So, few things are working, other things are not working at all. But that's AI, you need to test it and figure it out. But just jump in and try a small blueprint project and see if that works for you. Oh, we might witness another bug in the game that I have no idea why it is there, but it is there for some reason. Because some of the characters all have schedule in the game, and they should go to bed at a specific time, but for some reason my characters don't want to walk to their location where their bed is, so they just lie down in the street and sleep there. CMS. Not quite sure what you mean by that, but most of the data in game that I'm using is in data tables that I can kind of import as Excel tables and stuff like that. So a lot of the systems in game are data table values that I just put in, and I have Excel files that basically hold all these numbers and variables here, and I have that for a lot of different systems. As you can see, there are 5 data tables here, and if I go to the dialog, I have a data table here, even though I'm using a new system now where dialog is a bit oh, version control. I'm using Subversion SVN for version control in the background, and it's basically the same as any other engine. You have to figure out which files you need to set up as ignore and which files to use in version control, and once that is configured, it runs without issues. But the thing is, I'm working on the project alone, so I'm not really sure if the files are good for other people to work with and stuff like that. I know that the project is quite big, but that's because I have thrown a lot of different plugins in here that I'm using. If I look at the library here, I have a lot of different stuff that I just threw in the project. Not all of that is in the project at the moment, but most of this is just thrown in. Those are art assets, those are materials, those are sounds, music, animations, a lot of different stuff. And as a result, the project kind of exploded in size. So that's why it's only locally saved and not somewhere on the internet on a proper server like that. So there is a bit of kind of free stuff that you get each month with Unreal Engine. and I'm just throwing that in, test some of it out, and then if something of that is to my liking, then I'm using it. But in most cases, it wasn't something that really fit into the game. So, and since I'm working alone, I'm relying a bit too much on the asset store or marketplace in this case. But only for stuff that I really can't create myself or don't have the time to create, let's call it that way. For instance, all the furniture, not furniture, all the foliage in here, apart from the mushrooms, is bought. So all the grass, flowers, trees, stuff that I bought at some point. All the stuff in here is bought stuff. But the mushrooms I created myself. I know. But I just threw everything in here and use it that way. I still need to figure out a few things, what I want to, how far I want to go with imported stuff, how much I want to create on my own. And after 3 years, I haven't figured that out yet. Probably. No, I don't, but I still need to. I did create a clean project, and it had a lot of stuff in it that I didn't know was still in use, so I need to really do a clean project at some point and throw everything out that I'm not using. I mean, if you like Unity and like to work in Unity, you can definitely stay with Unity. Unity recently added a few interesting features that kind of are what I originally looked at and why I kind of switched. One of them is the material editor and or shader editor, the node-based shader editor that you have in here. Open that up. Let's just take this for instance. And there's something similar in Unity by now, I think. Yeah, I know. And that's one of the reasons why I switched at that time, because the new shader system wasn't in Unity yet at that time. And the other thing was the reliance on the asset store to fix too many things, and I didn't like that. And another thing that's kind of joked at sometimes is Unreal automatically comes with a dark theme, so but that's just something jokingly on the side. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Yeah. No, here I can set up keybinds quite easily. I go into input, I have keybinds for all the stuff. I can pick gamepad, motion controller, all that stuff if I wanted to. But the thing is, I haven't figured out or set up this system that you can change those in an in-game options menu. Yeah, the dark theme thing is a bit strange, yeah. Yeah, but you can set up different keys. It's mostly set up for mouse and keyboard at the moment, but I could also figure out different keys on the controller. Even though with all that stuff, I'm not sure if it's possible. Yeah, there are tutorials to do cell shading, and there is a in the Learn tab, I think there's a shader thing. Let's see, stylized rendering. It's not completely cell shading, but you can set it up in different ways so that it is cell shading. You can just create a project with that and play around with the different ways to achieve that. And then if you want to, you can go to the marketplace and find something there. Someone might have created just the thing for you already, and you don't need to spend the time but the money. But in most cases, there might be a video tutorial for just the thing you want to have. Terrain creation is quite nice. In this case, I originally created the terrain in Unity with a quite expensive plugin where I could use height maps and stamp them together. Yeah, right, Gaia. It's an awesome plugin, and I think it's a must for Unity and terrain stuff. But if I go to the terrain here and go to the sculpt tab, I have the option to sculpt here, and then I think it's, yeah, I can set an alpha or a pattern, and for the alpha I can also just select a height map if I wanted to, and just stamp that on the terrain, and it's basically has all the features built in already, and it's quite nice. You can even take your height map and import it when you create the map. You can just export the height map out of Unity for something that you already created and then import it into Unreal. But you need to make sure that the dimensions are the same. Otherwise, you end up with kind of Minecraft-looking terrain when the dimensions are not correct, and then you need to either redo it or fix it by hand and stuff like that. I went through that a long time ago. But it's possible to just take the height map that you have in Unity and just throw that into Unreal. And then we have other tools like option to flatten the terrain. It's slightly bigger. I'll smooth it out. Then we have a ramp tool built in. Let's undo those. And then my absolute favorite is this one. It's a visibility tool. If you set up your shader in the right way, which is completely explained in the documentation, you can create cave entrances. And in Unity, I think you still need to buy a plugin to do something like that. And if it's not correct what you did, you can just undo that. Because it's just a brush on the terrain material. If we look at that material, then it's just a simple option. Landscape visibility mask in the opacity mask here, and set the blend mode to masked, and then you have that functionality. I mean, this looks a bit strange, but it's actually not that complicated. And the nice thing is that it's basically doing what I needed to do automatically. So if I go to flatten, see that it's painting the terrain for me. And there are tutorials out there that show you exactly how that works. Or you can just go through one of the sample projects and see how they did their terrain. But most of the terrain is done already. There are still a few things that I want to fix, but that's kind of fighting against the terrain resolution so that I don't get an effect like that. Not that hard. It was just creating the mechanics again, and that was just time consuming a bit. At the time, I just moved all the assets that I was using in Unity over to Unreal. I needed to convert a few things. I think the normal maps didn't go over nicely because the shader models are different. But the rest was okay. And then I started using Substance Painter for a few things, and then later Substance Designer to create textures, materials, and stuff like that. Specifically designed for the shader model used in Unreal. And I created my own modular pieces for the houses and towers here and stuff like that. So but I wanted to do that anyway, so I didn't really lose a lot of time, maybe months maximum, because I started to create new stuff. that I didn't think looked good in Unreal from the exported stuff out of Unity. And at the moment, I'm just playing around with different stuff. For instance, I'm just working on this strange structure here. Which looks like a temple or something like that, but it's the outside of a library for trolls in the world. Rough block out of it. So how do I export this out? Oh wait, I want to combine that first. Let's see. Troll library. Just set the right export settings here. Thank you for the subscription. And hello, how are you? Thanks for leaving your Twitch Prime sub here. It's really appreciated. Let's import that. And now we have the columns for that area. Thank you. I'm doing fine. Speaking of music, I have some background music started to use yesterday, and because I did a lot of terrain painting and wasn't talking a lot, so I started to add background music a bit. Just try it out before you jump over. Try to work a bit with blueprints, try to work a bit with C++, see what you like better, and then make the switch if you want to. There's overlap in there. Do I want to have columns here? Kind of want to. Let's see. Duplicate that and rotate it. Like that. Okay, so that doesn't work properly. Okay, so the top part here needs to be a bit wider if I want to use the same dimensions here. Just put this to 2. And it's removed. I think 2 might be a bit too much. Yeah, let's put this to 2.5. I just need to make the top a bit wider. Okay. I'll make a copy of this as well. Let's change this. Yeah. I mean, I can remove some of the columns here again, but the rest looks okay. Still not sure if I want to put columns on the bottom part here. Maybe one or two here, but not too many.
You little monkey spiker.
What's that? Someone kind of remixed some of the audio clips and stuff from Baldur's Gate 2, and I don't really like those. This might be enough. Let's check. How many do we actually see of these? 5. Yeah, I think 5 might be enough. I'm exporting to FBX and then importing FBX. Need to make sure that the export settings are correct. So one thing to keep in mind is that Z is up and either Y is forward or back or something like that. Sorry, no, I'm doing Blender today. I'm doing a bit more block out on the troll library. And yeah, there's shape key functionality, so let me check my characters. Let's go with the male base. I think I have morph targets on here. No. Then let's check the head. I hope there's something on that still. Nope. So let's check on the female. Female head. Yeah, here we have them. Sorry about that. If you look at the brows, there are shape keys here for kind of emotions and expressions and stuff like that. Yeah, it is. In most cases, you don't really need to change anything in Blender. Only if you really want to have specific measurements and stuff like that. But in most cases, it just exports one-to-one. Just need to make sure that your import settings in Unreal are set up correctly. Otherwise, you might get models that are way too big or way too small. But I think the same thing is in every engine, that you need to check what kind of measurements do you want to have and stuff like that. So yeah. Morph targets, they're called here. And I think in Blender, shape keys. It's okay, I would say. It's not. In some cases, it's a bit strange to figure out where everything is, because there's a lot of tabs and you can do a lot of things. A lot of kind of each type of asset has its own kind of tool set, its own UI elements and stuff like that. So to figure all that stuff out, it takes a bit of time, but once you have figured out the things that you need, it's no issue. And thank you for the bit. Haven't activated the bit thing again. Let's see if that's still there. Not sure if it's running or not. Well, it might take a moment. No, I think I just... Okay, there it is. There we have the muck. I usually have that closed. Because I'm not that comfortable with it, but your bit should be in there. And thank you for it. I'm probably butchering your name. Nepper? Or VN Apois? I'm sorry for butchering the name. So, I was looking for the... I think I said 5 was enough for these. Oh wait, I also need to move these slightly, don't I? Yeah, this needs to be moved forward slightly. So let's go to top view. And then let's just move this forward slightly. Oh, right. Do I really have a bevel on there already? Looks like it. Parts of models. This is just a blockout at the moment. I will create kind of one column for each of these, then texture those and stuff like that. Oh, the head legs for the body. It's for my character creation system. So if I do a new game, you can go in here and select different body parts, and as you can see, there's a hole here because I'm kind of replacing the torso. But I'm not just using that for the main character, I'm using that for a lot of all of my NPCs as well. So yeah, I want my NPCs to have a bit more variety, and I also, like I showed you earlier, I have that bug in the game that kind of is a system that I built in so that they change clothing when they go to bed and change clothing in the morning. And earlier there was that naked woman lying around here. They change at night, but at the moment I have the bug that they are not going home properly to change, and that's why she was laying on the street. Kind of want to have a simulation aspect in there so that you see them change a bit over time and with a different schedule for each character and stuff like that. It might be a bit of an overkill for the game, but something I wanted to build in, and in some parts it works, in others not so much. What the hell is going on here? This is not beveled, is it? Where's the damn clipping plane? No, it's not. Strange. Definitely, the art style is always the most complicated. It's true. Oh, I see what the issue is. I doubled vortices in there. Yay! Not sure what DQ is. I'm not really familiar with anime styles and stuff like that, so... Oh, okay. Yeah, don't know the style and stuff like that, so... Not have that. Okay. Which overlap do I have up here? Not much. Let's push these out a bit more. kind of, but like I said, I'm not really someone who knows anything about anime or stuff like that. I don't watch anime myself. Don't read mangas. Because in most cases I don't like the simplified style. The thing is, something that you might hate, I watched a live action movie of Dragon Ball and I found it really funny. It was horrible, but funny in a way. But I didn't watch anything else. Yeah, I'm watching TV shows, live action TV shows, in most cases, and British, American, Canadian, stuff like that. In most cases. Even though I'm German, but German television sometimes really sucks. Yeah. I mean, there are a few good things from the UK. I really like Doctor Who. And I watched Broadchurch. Stuff like that. So let's see. Does this work? Yeah, I think it works. It looks good. Let's see, do I have material I can surround this? Just to test it out. Let's try this one. Oh, yeah. There are no UVs, so it will not look good at all. So let's add some UVs and figure this out a bit more. Okay, let's hide those mirror planes. Let's hide all this stuff. Haven't watched the latest episodes yet because they're not really available here. But I watched most of the stuff before that. I kind of like her because she's a different approach to the Doctor. But I think at some point the writing started to be a bit strange, and I mean the newer series is nothing in comparison to the really old ones, which sometimes had horrible writing. But there were a few really funny and nice episodes all over the place. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure which was the last episode I watched. I think 3 or 4 of the new season. But I haven't watched anything after that. So let's take these and let's apply the modifiers. No, let's not do that. Let's do the UVs first. Let's do UV editing. Oh wait, do I have an issue here? No. Let's see. Let's unwrap that. And then let's do, let's see what we have. Okay, so let's do this. Hello. I'm doing fine. Okay, so this is quite big. But okay, these columns are also huge. So that kind of makes sense. Let's do this. I am working on an exploration adventure game. And I'm doing a block out for a new, not really new building, but working on the block out for this building here. Just want to put a simple UV on these columns and stuff like that. The game is an exploration adventure game. Let me start this. Jump into a save game here so I can show you the mechanics a bit. It's quite simple. It's a kind of a mixture between a point-and-click adventure game and first-person open-world exploration game. One thing is there's no fighting, and no survival aspects in the game. It's just walking around, talk to people, and light puzzle solving, let's call it that way. Because I haven't figured out nice puzzle systems yet. That's kind of the extent of the puzzle solving. But in some cases you need to just move them a bit further away. To open gate on the other side of town. Kind of. I used a plugin for Blender called Manual Bastioni Lab for the characters, and then I used Marvelous Designer for the clothing. And I tried to make hair, but failed so far. But you can talk to them. There's a bit of dialogue for this character. There's a bit more dialogue for other characters. For instance, the guy down here can give us a quest. Oh, by the way, there's also main quest with tracking what you already done. You have already done for those. Then we talk to this guy. Tells us that the inn is closed, and then we can ask him why and where did he get that from, and then we can do a quest for him. I had Mixamo characters kind of fuse and Mixamo characters as my placeholders, but for some reason they kind of turned out to be looking all the same. And then I switched over to another system. I wanted to have a bit more variety and wanted to play around with that. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Yeah, and now we have this quest next to our main quest here. We get a barrel of beer. Since we moved that barrel, or the chest to the other side of town onto the pressure plate, this gate is now open. And we can get to the Steinheimer brewery that way. But the brewery is on the other side of the map. So it's a lot of walking that I would need to do here. Yes, I'm using a lot of foliage. All the foliage here is bought. I haven't created anything of that. Yeah, that's the thing. Character creator or systems like that all cost money, and I don't have a budget for the game. It costs a bit of performance, but it uses instancing and dynamic unloading and all that stuff. Kind of distance culling and so on, so it's not that bad. So I don't do anything for the foliage, I just throw all the foliage in, and the rest is something that's happening on the engine side. Unreal is doing a lot for me. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I created my characters with a plugin called Bastioni Lab, which sadly isn't available anymore. The guy shut it down, but there's still kind of versions out that I could use, but the original creator quit the project. And there's a plugin for Blender that I can use in Blender directly, and funnily enough, the co-creator of Make Human is Manuel Bastioni, and he created that plugin for Blender so that you can directly work in Blender and create characters. But I tried different systems before, and nothing really worked and looked like the way I wanted it to, because I wanted to have more control over them. And if I go into my characters, okay, I already removed the placeholders here. I had some placeholder versions where I used at first I used the meshes directly from Unity's humor system. They didn't really work nicely in Unreal. Then I used fuse characters and Mixamo animations, and then I tested out on a test version Character Creator, and they didn't really feel like nice performant characters, because they had materials for every little aspect of the character, and kind of didn't feel right, even though my characters also have a lot of materials, but I think there were even more with that system. I mean, they looked good, but I would need to create clothing for that system, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. And then I saw the Menu Bastioni Lab and thought, okay, I'm using Blender anyway, so why not jump into that and work with that system? Yeah, it's not. You can combine stuff and use it that way, but I didn't do that. Just jumped into a system where I had a lot more control. CC3 is, I think it's Character Creator 3, and it's yeah, you can create humanoid or human meshes with it, with clothing, hair, and all that stuff. The full version of it is kind of expensive, yeah. But there is a test version that you can try out, I think. At least there was at some point as when I tested it out. And you can just see if it works for you. But the issue is, if you really want to go in and change a lot of stuff, you would need to have their base meshes and use those. And I still have a lot of things that I hope that would work nicely on the characters, so that I can have different body proportions and stuff like that. Kind of wanted to have a system similar to the one that was used in Yuma, if anyone of you know that. The Unity multi-purpose avatar system, which uses bone scaling. I worked with it. I have an interesting looking video of the character it created, but it has had a few issues in the versions when I still worked in Unity. But basically did something similar to this. So yeah. So if I just take bone here, let's take the upper arm. Set this to 2. Compile it. Come on. Show me something here. Let's go crazy. Okay, it doesn't want to show me what I want to have here. To tremble. I think I had something like that at some point, but I really can't tell you how I fixed that. Don't remember. Let's put this back to something a bit smaller. Yeah, so that I can do stuff like this. But the issue with this system is that it's working on the whole bone chain basically, and I would need to reset the scale on the bone after that, so that only the upper arm is bigger than the rest and stuff like that, and would need to set this up for each of the bones, and it would kind of be a huge network, and I didn't want to do that. And then I saw a plugin that kind of does that. Exactly what I wanted to do, but the problem is that plugin has so many issues, and it just doesn't work for me for some reason. If I could use something like this would be awesome, but doesn't really work for me. It works on a sample character, but it doesn't work on my full character setup. And I told the guy who created it that I had issues with this and what kind of issues I had, and he didn't react on anything, so that's kind of an issue. So the system is useless to me. But I can basically, like I said, I can create a huge network here just to kind of cancel this out again. So if I duplicate this, put -2 here, for instance. And take the next bone. Compile that. Yeah, then it completely breaks. Wait, I need to do this way. Yeah, but this way he would have kind of strange looking bulky arm. Yeah, got a few packages here. Most of them I got free stuff that you get each month from the marketplace. You gotta get free packages, and I just grab all of those. And in some cases they're useful, in other cases I might not use them. I'm not sure if I would use something like this because it's not really an art style that I am comfortable with. And others are just different packages I bought at some point in sales. I think this was also free at some point. Oh, someone was asking about cell shading earlier, I think. Here you have cell shading. I think this is still free? Not sure. Yeah, I think the light version is still free. Yeah, free forever. So you can just jump in and take that. I think this is a Fuse character because the hairstyle looks familiar. Yeah. So let's remove that stuff here again because it's... Like I said, I would need to set this up properly. I have another problem with my characters at the moment. The male skeleton doesn't work nicely at the moment. Interaction package? Do you mean? What is that? Interesting. Okay, so it's a setup with animations, animation blueprints, and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of built my own system for that. Because there's a lot of stuff in here that I don't need. I don't need all this shooty stuff in my game. Okay, there are some physics interactions. I mean, if you get all that out of a package and then you can take it apart and use the different systems as you need them, it's a nice thing, but still. Yeah, definitely it's mostly animations. But if I jump in here, I also have kind of interaction with the world, even for NPCs. So, see the purple text, not the pink one, but the purple text said that character was interacting with a chair. And if we go over here and just watch this guy here, once you reach that chair, basically he's interacting with that. And I can kind of trigger different animations in different spots. So now he's sitting down. The only issue is that he's not using the right rotation and stuff like that. That's something I still need to figure out. But I can also sit down myself. Interact with furniture. Okay, now we have a bit of an issue because I'm blocking the chair. Okay, he's still sitting down. And now I'm getting up and I might be stuck here slightly. Oh no, okay, it works. But I can open doors and stuff like that, so there's interaction here as well. I created. Doesn't look that nice, and I'm not reaching for the doorknob, turning it and stuff like that, but in some cases animations get in the way as well. So if you have an animation for each door or for each thing that you pick up, then you're getting crazy. So I kind of didn't have that for stuff like that. I mean, I can pick up boxes here. They just disappear at the moment. I want to add a kind of a particle system so that they kind of disintegrate and turn into a particle system that flows to the character. Because it's kind of a magical world, but I haven't done that yet. Okay, let's get back to Blender and fix the UVs up. Do I need those? Let's keep them, but they don't really matter much. Let's just throw that here and see how that looks in game. So some of these should have proper UVs, the rest doesn't have yet. Let's see. Okay, so these here have proper UVs, but the textures don't look that good on them. So they're really small, but those are huge columns. So if we just... yeah, the problem is I can't just play from here. It's kind of an issue that I have. It's the setup that I have here at the moment, but we can just run there. It's not that far away. Let's just remove that. And let's pick up crate, open the door or the gate, then run through the town, run out of town and get to the library. . Yeah, that definitely looks different already. Just pause the music side here, so we don't have we only have the in-game music for the moment. Let's see, can I get up there? Probably not. Nope. So let's see if I can get to that from the other side. Oh, these need to be longer. Oh, and I also need to change this so that each of these pieces has better collision. I think I built some kind of ramp up here. Yeah, I think I can get up this way. Okay, I'm running against the wall. Okay, so we can't have a look at that. I can just set this. Because simple collision is this at the moment. So I couldn't get in here. Why is that not setting correctly? Okay, let's make the front area look a bit better, so let's just make this here slightly longer. Yeah, this needs to be the same size as that. And then we need to have UV set up for that part. Okay. Well, let's just take one of these standard starter content materials here and just try those out. Maybe not this one, but just have a look at those. Let's try that one. See if I have anything that I can use here. Not really. Let's just take the stone and see how that looks. Kind of works. Even though it looks really small in comparison to the resolution I have here. Set just set this here so that we have two different materials in these. Even though I haven't set up the UVs yet, let's see. How would I split this up? I think these areas here would be their own, have their own material basically, and then these parts have different material. So let's set another one here, assign that there. Just give that a color so we see that this is assigned. Then for these, would have a different material. Yeah, that material, and let's also take a different material for the ceilings here. Just give it a different color for the moment. Which also means that we can set the UVs quite easily now. All the seams. Oh, what am I doing there? Strange. Okay. Okay, fix that issue. Oh, then we need to cut it at one side, so let's take the back side here. Just mark those. Unwrap that. What's the issue here? Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we definitely need to cut this as well. Let's cut it here. No, let's not do that there, but back here. That doesn't look good. Strange. Okay, let's just calculate that. And let's see. Where the hell? Okay, something went wrong here. Not sure what. Okay, it doesn't like that for some reason. So let's keep it like this for the moment. To figure out why it's not cooperating properly. Also need to remove something here. So this one. Can remove two of them and then move it over. So it's fitting in here properly. Since it's just a black block out, it doesn't matter that much. Same thing up here. So we don't have overlapping there. Okay, let's export that out and see what we get. Okay, let's set stone for the pillars. And then let's have a look at this. So the tiled for the floors. No, that's not the right one. It's the ceiling. Those are the floors. But the issue here is that it's way too big. Because the UVs are not the right size. And then stone bricks on the outside. Be the walls. Something for the trims. Let's take this one. Okay, so that kind of works, but I definitely need to figure out why I didn't want to resize the UVs properly. Just try, maybe just want to show them properly, so let's just see what we get now. Okay. That looks different. I think I assigned them wrongly, so is this the bricks? Should be that one. And then the ceilings should be something else as well. So, okay, these are not set properly. No, that's not correct. So this one gets those tiles. And here I wanted to add the bricks. So let's like those. Okay, the rotation of those is horrible, but... And this looks also really horrible. Yeah, I definitely need to fix those, but I just wanted to have this showing up partially textured so that we get a better idea how it would look like it later. Yeah, I think it's okay. Now I just need to create each of the pillars individually and all that stuff so that I can throw them in here as modular pieces. Then I also need to kind of cut up the rest and create modular pieces for that as well. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure yet. Definitely need to fix the alignment for these. Kind of looks okay here, even though the rotation is wrong, but I also need a different material for those. Oh, damn it, I'm missing one of them back here, so let's add another one to these. And I also need to change this here. Slightly. Okay, so there's no UV, seam here, so let's do that. Let's unwrap those again. And let's just try it with these and see if that works. Ah, okay, so they are really huge. That's why this happened. So I can't really display them in that size. Ouch. Let's fix these up. And I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Let's see, what do we get from that? No, that's not what I want. Nope. Why is that distorted like that? Do I have scales on that? Probably. And I also think that this is not. Oh, it looks okay here. Let's do something here. Mesh transform. Apply rotation and scale. Let's see if that makes a difference. If we unwrap that, nope, doesn't. This is still strangely distorted. What is that? Which piece is that? It's that one. Oh, I see what the issue is. Forgot to add a seam here. Now it's a lot better. Okay. Okay, so now we have that. Let's export this out. Okay, so now the bricks have thought right. Orientation here and all this looks better. The columns up here don't have UVs yet, but the rest looks okay. This is still a bit of an issue. Why is that? It should be fine. Maybe the issue is that I shouldn't have changed the rotation here, otherwise it distorts too much, but let's see, let's put it like that and see if that's better, but I kind of doubt it. Nope. Yeah, no, that makes it even worse. Try something here. Even though I'm not sure if this would look good. Yeah, no, this doesn't work for that. Okay, let's just try this for a moment so that we can have a closer look a bit. And I don't want to keep it like that. I think the next step would be to separate out the pieces and then work on them, each of the pieces of it individually. So I would have one column for each piece. Yeah. Oh, we need to remove the terrain here a bit. Then I also need to figure out how I want to have the front look. Maybe I'm adding some kind of balcony as well. Or maybe just some insets or something like that to make it, to break it up a bit more. Make it look a bit more interesting. And then I also need to create a proper entrance area. But I think for a block out it serves its purpose. So I also need to figure out what kind of column style I want to have. Because the thing is, it's a kind of a mixture of a ziggurat or step pyramid thingy and some Roman or Greek columns or stuff like that. But I kind of want to add something to the front here because that's a bit too much just texture space, and that's in an earlier version I had some lion statues in front of here, but I didn't really like them because the texture resolution they had, and they looked a bit strange. Let's see, do I still have them here somewhere? Fantasy kit. Oh, yeah. Not a griffin statue, but still. Okay, these look okay, but if I set a different material for that, then it doesn't look good, and then I have the issue that the kind of resolution of this is way worse than everything else that I have. So I mean, I could put those in here, or some statues in alcoves or stuff like that, but would need to have something that fits to the trolls a bit better. So probably not a griffin. Not really yet. At the moment, it's just a guy, but the idea for the troll look is something like let's put on some music again. Find the right thing. Wait, did I close all these? Nope. Where are my... Okay, I closed all those. Damn it. Give me a second. Yeah, they're all closed. Awesome. Let's go to my thingy here, and then we should have trolls somewhere. Where are they? Here we go. I was thinking of something like this for the trolls. Big noses, big ears. But the thing is, I want to create some kind of system so that I can create different looking trolls later on if I at some point add the library, so I would need to have more than one troll. At the moment there's only one in the game, but the idea is to add more to them. I also need something for the goblins and stuff like that, so at some point I had goblin. Let's see, is it here? No, that's the older version of the goblin. Was Fuse? I tried to create goblin and Fuse, but it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But I thought I had another one here somewhere. Oh. No. Okay, it's not in here. Where did I put that? It's a good question. Let's see. This was the latest version of the goblin, and that is created with manual Bastioni lab. So it kind of works, even though the rotations of the ears are not quite there, and the ears could be bigger. Yeah, in comparison, old version, new version. But the problem is I need to have this so that I can still change the face in some ways, and something I still need to figure out how to do best. If I use shape keys for that, or what I'm doing with this. Let's see, what else do we have in here? I don't know, the rest is, you know, this is old stuff here. This is quite an old screenshot in... This is Unity still. also Unity, and in comparison, Unreal. Who doesn't? That's another issue, because a lot of people have that, and I used that for a long time, and then I saw it in trailers of different games, and I thought I need to create my own assets, because I can't use that. Here there's stuff that I did for humor. Created armor pieces and stuff like that. Another screenshot. That's the standard tree that comes with either Unity or Gaia. So I definitely need to change that as well. I think it was, yeah, it's a Gaia test. So that was a long time ago. Yeah, that's kind of the issue, yeah. Yeah, the thing for this here is that I want to have a completely different architectural style for the troll library than I use for the towers and houses and stuff like that. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. Even though I need to figure out a way that the foliage works better together, because this looks a bit too low poly. I mean, it's really performant, but it doesn't really look good in comparison to those trees. But those are awesome for performance. I mean, this is all overdraw and stuff like that on the trees. So I'm thinking of maybe creating some kind of system where I'm creating really alien looking trees that don't have transparency on them. Then populate the whole area with them a bit more. Not sure yet. I mean, I kind of did something like this with my mushrooms here. But I noticed that they didn't look good if I throw them everywhere in the map. Oh, I also need to create some... I mean, I not need to create something new for this, but I need to use this building style somewhere else as well, so that I don't have it kind of unique here. Or I just need to create a unique roof for that, because this is the standard roof that I'm using everywhere else. This cave I created in Unity. This is one of the oldest models that I have in here. Because there was a plugin that helped you kind of create meshes from the terrain directly. The problem is the terrain changed since then, so cave looks a bit different now and doesn't fit 100%ly anymore. So I need to figure out another system for that. Yeah, it is. I mean, it doesn't have texture on it for once, but it seems a bit strange. But caves are a big issue. Cave entrances and stuff like that. Transition from terrain to a cave is always an issue. We have something similar over here. It also doesn't look that nice, but doesn't matter that much because it's just a small area here, even though... No, this... Why is that black and what's going on here? Oh, damn it. So this is completely broken. But there's another cave here. This time it's an underwater cave. Kind of a cavern that you can kind of dive into. I thought I had another cave somewhere. Let's check. I think I have something way back here as well. Yeah, there's another cave here, but this is even more broken. Yeah, for some reason the textures are not working properly. Oh yeah, because I'm setting a terrain material on a static mesh. Yeah, it must be horrible, yeah. That's true. But I haven't figured out a good system so that I can have cave transitions that fit nicely into the terrain yet. I mean, one idea was to kind of create terrain tiles, meshes, and then kind of set them together somehow, but I haven't done anything like that yet. And the kind of old school method was maybe the old school method was just throwing stones in there. I haven't done yet because I need a lot of stones for that, and they need to kind of fit together properly. I mean, there's an example where complete cave system is built out of just one stone mesh. And I think the sample cave systems that are here somewhere. Let's see, do we have cave system here? There was some kind of sample scene where it was a cave. I think it was this one. They use, I think, few rocks and kind of use them again all over the place. But some meshes, like nice archways and stuff like that, created for this as well, I think. No. But I need to stop for today. Because it's getting late. And let's figure out who's online who we can raid. Let's see. Who do we have here? Okay. Oh, okay, I have someone we can raid. Okay, let's raid then. Okay, I will set the end screen here and mute myself, and we are raiding Honest Dan. If you want to stay and raid, stay here and you will be pushed over to him in a moment. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Hopefully we'll catch up soon.